Hi there, welcome back to Save with Crypto. My name is Save with Crypto on a rather glorious Sunday morning, October the 5th, 2025. And this morning we had a new all-time high for Bitcoin. Phenomenal. This is on ByBit and the price went up to, what was that? About 125,357, something like that. Phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, this is just the best asset in the world, isn't it, really? If you're going to hold anything, hold Bitcoin, because it's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you were trading this. I actually only had a small Bitcoin trade. Well, I've still got it, actually, which is not amazing, but I've got an Ethereum one that's a bit better. But generally, I've kind of missed out on this move because I've just not been on the ball for the last week or so for various reasons. But I hope you guys have. Anyway, I noticed in the Discord, which, by the way, you can join by going to savewithcrypto.org/Discord, a couple of guys were talking about how to use a trailing stop loss to take profit. So I thought I'd show you that on Blofin and Bitunix, which I think are the two exchanges that implement it best. Now, you can also do this on BitGet, but it's awful because it doesn't actually show you where the stop loss is. It's really weird. It's really horrible. And ByBit has always been one of my favourite exchanges, and the trading stop loss on there is really easy to use, but it doesn't have a certain feature that Bitunix and Blofin do. Okay, so this is Bitunix. Here I've got a SEI USDT trade going on. It's currently, what is that? That's 24% in profit. $105. I'm using a margin of 430. Okay, so if I wanted to set a stop loss for this, I could just get that, drag it down there, do that. Okay, and that means if the price comes down here, the trade will close and I will lose some money. How much I'll lose, you can have a look by looking here, and you can see that the estimated return on investment will be minus 4.34%. Okay, and obviously with a trade like this that's already in profit, it makes more sense to move your stop loss into profit, or even just to break even, just so that you don't lose any money if the price does come back down. Now, when an asset is getting overcooked, the temptation is to keep pushing your stop loss up a little bit every now and again, just so that just in case the price comes back, it will close the trade, and then you can walk away with a profit. So how about if you could do that automatically? Well, you can. And in fact, you don't even need to cancel this one to do it. Let's put that back down here. And what we're going to do is use trailing stop loss, okay? And really, I always think that stop loss is the wrong kind of name because it doesn't really stop a loss. If you use it in the traditional sense, it just creates a loss, but it basically stops you losing everything. Stops you getting liquidated, so that's why we use them. But of course you can also use them to take profit. So let's say that at the moment I'm fairly happy with the way the price is going, but I don't think it's going to go up forever. So if it pulls back a little bit, I might want to close the trade. So if we just get the measuring rule here, and let's just say from where we are now, if we pull back to there, we want to be thinking about closing the trade. So that's about minus 2.4%. Or you can remember the value 0.0072. I find it easier to remember the percentage, minus 2.4. So to do that, we just go over here, go to this section here, and then we go to trailing stop loss. And rather than doing it by interval, we want to do it by ratio. And we're just going to put in 2.4%. Okay. And I can have that to close the entire position. Or if I wanted maybe half the position, 75%, whatever. Let's go for half. So it says here, when the last price retraces 2.4% from the original price, trailing TPSL will be triggered and the position will be closed at the market price. It is worth bearing in mind that this does do a market close rather than a limit close, okay? But in the event of the price moving really quickly, that is probably what you want anyway. So let's confirm that and see how that looks. So you get this extra confirmation thing here, that's fine. That's all good, and we can just exit that window now. So what we can see now, if we got this trailing stop loss here. Now the original normal stop loss is still there, which is cool. But this one here will follow the price if it goes up. And that distance there will be maintained while the price is going up. When the price comes back down, this won't go down. That will stay where it is. So obviously if the price comes back down very quickly, that will close. Okay, let's just leave this for a bit and see if we can see it move. Let's put it on the 1 minute just so we can see it moving. So that's currently on 0.2956, and I might speed up the next part of this video. So you see here that as the price went up, that's now changed to 0.2959. But when it came back that little bit, it still stayed where it was. So if this pulls back, it will close. So how about if you didn't want this to start happening until a certain level? Well, we can do that as well. So let's say we want to do the same thing, but we don't want it to trigger until 0.3032. Let's do that. Let's cancel this one. Go down here, trailing stop loss, and then you can click activation price here. So let's have 0.33032, and then we'll have this retracement as 2.4% like before, and we'll keep the quantity on half, 50%. Right, so now what we see is we've got this thing saying activation at 3032. So let's see what happens if we get there. Currently at 3031. Now, when would you want to use this? Well, I think probably with something like Bitcoin the way it is today, because it's going to get into like blue sky breakout territory probably, and we don't really know where the top is. So it might go up very, very quickly and then come down really, really quickly. And wouldn't it be good if you could have your stop loss following it all the way up, and then when it does retrace, you take your profit. So that way you could use it more as a trailing take profit rather than a trailing stop loss. And you could have your trigger point, say today, at something like 127k. Okay, so look, that has now triggered, and we now have a trailing stop loss down here, just like we did before. Okay, so that's how you do it on Bitunix. Now, to do this on Blofin, it's a very, very similar process, really. I've got this CRO trade. It's only slightly in profit, just like 10%. But let's say that, we're looking for, a retracement of something like 0.5%, but we wanted to trigger at, say, 0.2125. So you come down here, go to trading stop, and here you can do entire position or partial position. So we can do, say, like half the amount again, and we're looking for 0.5% retracement. And if you want the activation price, you can put it in here. So 0.2125, 2125. Okay, so let's do that. And you can see again what it's done here for the activation. It's put this thing up here. It does look a little bit deceiving, this one, because that looks like it's a trading stop there already. But what will actually happen is when the price goes up, it will then put the trading stop loss down here. So let's wait a bit and see if that price does go back up there. Okay, well, that doesn't seem to want to do that just at the moment. But what you can do as well, you can have a normal stop loss, and you could just put that into profit there if you want to make sure you don't lose any money. Maybe have that a bit higher just in case. So you get the idea now. If the price comes down there, it will just close all the position. If the price goes up there, it will enable the trailing stop loss. The trailing stop loss will follow the price as it goes up. If it retraces, then it will close half the trade. And I think this is a pretty good way to take profit if you're going to go out for the day, or you're going to be asleep, or you're just going to be away from the screen, which I am today actually. So I'm going to probably just leave this like this. This is just a very, very small amount I'm using here. I've got a much bigger CRO trade on ByBit. And if you want me to talk about that, then please do give the video a big fat like. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you got the notification bell set to all. Any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Do join the free Discord at savewithcrypto.org/discord, and above all, tell your friends.